All right, so MPC 3, there's a lot to cover. I'm going to do my best to cover or to summarize some of the new features that we're going to be seeing. And at the end of this video, I'll probably just chop up a few records right here, have some drums from my SP1200, and just show you a little bit of hands-on workflow. I don't want to focus too much on building a beat, but mainly want to summarize what we're going to be seeing in 3.0. Now, before I jump into it, I do want to remind you, if you are looking for any piece of audio equipment, check out my links to Zounds. Zounds is awesome. They do not check your credit. They don't check your background, no social security. They go ahead and pick up an MPC. As a matter of fact, right now would be an awesome time to purchase an MPC. Purchase it with Zounds. They ship it out to you today and you set up a payment plan. So go ahead and check out those links. And back to the video. Now, when I installed MPC 3, I'm not gonna lie, I felt completely lost. I didn't know how to get around and build my first beat, but once I kind of figured out how everything was laid out, it made sense. We still have the MPC terminology that still applies to MPC 3. It's just a few different layouts with some extra settings or some extra options. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and just summarize some of the new pages that we're going to see that I think it's worth knowing of, and we'll start off with this new main page mode. Within the main page, as you see, is very different from what we were used to. Now we have our sequence up here, followed by our actual tracks. Now, if you see, the tracks are now divided into two different sections. You got your actual track right here, where there is a program, an instrument, a key group program, and then right next to that, you'll see that you have your arrangement. This arrangement is going to show you right from your main page the arrangement that you have within that track. So if you want to lay down some drums and you want to switch something really quick, you can now access that straight from the main page and see the arrangement of that specific track you're on. Another new features, if you want to add a brand new track, it will see new track at the very bottom, and you can select what type of program that track is going to be. Now, being right here in the main page, I want to go over channel XL strip. This is a new way of seeing our channel strip. If we select our channel strip right here on track number 2, we'll see that we have a better representation of what we have going on when it comes down to mixing. Also, sends, returns, effects. It's going to be a lot easier to access these. Right here, we have our drums track. We can adjust the volume right here. We have our mute, solos, our record automation. But what's nice about this new channel XL is that we have our level, and right next to level, we have effects. If we open up effects, we could start putting in our inserts. If you want to use Mother Ducker, a compressor, an EQ, you can start adding those inserts right then and there. Also, another cool feature is that now we are able to readjust our plugins. So let's say later on we want to add the let's say a gate, and we want to move the compressor at the bottom and put a gate before that. We can now move our plugins as we wish. Now, my favorite thing about this new XL channel strip is, as you see right here, we have our sends. Now, to tap into your sends, you just select that right from your main page. You don't have to bank around different pages. You select sends, and you can start adjusting your sends of your individual pads or your entire drum program. Now, let's say, for an example, on my snare, I want to add some reverb on this snare. I can directly use this sends page and start adding reverb. Now, another really cool thing, and this is awesome because it allows you to use now the sends and returns the way we want to, is that if I want to adjust my reverb on my return track, automatically, as soon as I select send, it will mirror my return track right there. Now I can just jump into the reverb and adjust the pre-delay if I need to make some changes. Really fast to tap into these sends and returns. Now let's go into our sends number 2. I have a delay. Now it shows me the delay right there that's plugged into return number 2. And now let's say in send number 3, if I select send number 3, I don't have nothing, but I can add something in send number 3. I hit the little plus icon, delay, high pass. So it's a lot easier to add some returns to your tracks. Is right there. You don't have to bang through different pages. Right from your channel Excel strip, you can do all those adjustments. Now, just a quick update for anybody that's purchased the MPC course as of lately. Don't freak out. I know this is completely different from what you see in the course. By the time the MPC 3.0 is launched, you will see these updates within the course. So I will be dripping out the course of the 3.0. You'll still have MPC 2.0 to be able to look at, and you'll be seeing in the next coming weeks. Every single week, I'll be releasing a chapter of MPC 3.0, going in detail of everything that I'm covering. If you're not on the course yet, go ahead and sign up. We'll be up to date with 3.0 very, very soon. Link down in the description if you're interested in signing up today. Back to the video. Now, speaking about mixing, there is a new way of mixing with MPC 3. We go to our mixer, and now we finally are able to mix vertically with actual channel strips. Right now, we only have our sample, our track, and our drums. If I hit play, right now, I just have this drum track that's being played, and we can start adjusting the levels using these faders, or we can select the track and use our jog wheel to move up or down. If you have a bunch of different tracks right here, you could use that and start mixing the way it should feel. Now, another thing is being right here in this mixer track, we are able to jump into our pad mix. And we are also going to be seeing all of our individual pads. If we want to lower them down, we can go ahead and do so right here. And also being right here really fast, we could see our sends and returns. Go into our sends, take off that delay. Boom, we have all that stuff right here. Our pan and volumes, our effects. Again, we can see what type of effects on the kick. I had a mother ducker. On the snare, you can add different effects. You have everything right here, right at your fingertips, which is a lot easier to add effects on individual pads within the mixer page. Now let's jump into these cue links. They are now enhancing the workflow of setting automation. Jumping into the cue links, if I hold this down, we have Project 1, Project 2. So I've not tapped into this yet as much, but it's something that I'm gonna have to dive deep into this subject alone. But now you're going to be able to set certain cue links to different plugins. If I want to add my reverb on cue link 1, and I want to add some saturation or distortion from a different plugin on cue link 2, I'm able to adjust that and map these a lot faster than we would before. So now we actually have Project 1 and Project 2. So if I want to have a different set of cue link assignments to Project 1, I have that. And if I want to jump over to Project 2, I'll have these mapped out to a whole different set of parameters. Now, our grid editor is going to be a bit different, and it's actually a lot easier to navigate. In our grid editor, if we actually want, you are the type of person that likes to color code your pads, and now actually you might want to be coloring your pads. You'll be able to see your notes. This is how we would see them before. They're all the same color, so we don't know what's what. But now, if let's say your kick, single pad, let's say our kick, we want that to be purple. Snare, let's make that red. Hat, let's make that blue. Cool. Now, when we go into our grid, now we'll be able to see the actual colors of the pads if you are color coding. Now, another really cool thing in this grid editor, if you hold down Shift, now we have select all. So now we can select all, copy all, and paste it or delete it. All right, so now jumping over to honestly what I find the coolest new page that we're gonna have in our MPCs is this arranger page. This arranger page is awesome because now it feels like I'm in Ableton, or if you're working from Pro Tools or Reason or Logic, we can actually, if you don't want to work with sequences and you're like, you know what, this confuses me because it's like sequence 1 is my intro, sequence 2 is my verse, like it could be a bit confusing confusing for people that are just getting started with the MPC, you could now build your whole entire beat using your arrangement page or your linear arranger. We have our sample track, which I actually don't have anything recorded, and then we have our drums right here at the bottom, and you can actually see your notes that you're tapping into those drums directly from this arranger page. Now, if you want to stay on this page and you're like, you know what, this drums track is cool, but I can adjust something or I can switch something up, you can select that track and open this little pop-up window down here, and you already have those notes right here that you can start editing. You can start adding different hats or different, let's say I want to add that shaker. I'm going to go ahead and add that right there. Or let's say you don't want to see that. You want to add it directly from here. Just select that drum track, overdub, and you can start overdubbing that on top of here. Just showing an example on how you can start building your tracks. Matter of fact, these drums right here is some drums that I brought in from my SP1200. Now that I kind of went over a few of the main pages, I want to show you guys something really cool right here within this main page. Being right here in the main page, one thing that you're going to notice is that if you want to create a brand new track, let's say I want to bring in a new track and I want to sample from some records, I hit new track and it's going to ask you what type of track do you want. Well, I want to do a drum program because I want to sample some audio, and now we have this brand new drum program, and you're going to see something that will get you going right away. You have an option of loading some samples directly from your SD card, or if you have some sample packs from Akai, you can start loading that directly into that program. You don't have to go look for the program later on. Once you load it into your sample pool library, it will just be loaded directly to track number 3. Or if you already have drums like the way I do, I already have my drums in that sequence, I want to just start sampling into this track number 3. I don't want to jump into the sampler. I want to just get going. As you see right here, we have an option to hit record and you start sampling into your tracks. Now, I actually have a few records right here that I chopped up. These are the drums that you're hearing. This is awesome. The reason why I brought the SP1200 is because now having this feature of just being able to record directly to a pad right away, it's so easy for me to just get some percussive sounds going back and forth from my SP1200 into the MPC. If you have any other source of instruments or sound, drum machines or anything you have, it's so easy just to record directly into a track now. But since we already have these drums going, let's go ahead and sample a record. Before we jump into a record, let's hear some chops that I had right here that actually sound really cool. Let's move forward. I'm gonna get sidetracked right here. All right, so now when I go to my main page, I have everything right here. And really cool that I'm able to see everything right here on the main page. Like right here, I can actually adjust the start point right away. And if I want to jump into the program editor, as a matter of fact, I don't think they call it the program editor now. Now it's called the track editor. If I double click this waveform, it'll take me straight into the sample page within my track editor. Being right here, I can do what I'm used to doing, pitch this down. Woo! Wow, let's record that right there. Now, let me show you one last thing. I'm going to create a brand new track, also another drum track, and I'm actually going to sample into this track Let's go in here into our sampler. I'm going to hit the sample. There's actually a new way of chopping up some samples. This is actually really cool. I actually wanted to use this with some percussion or some percussive instruments because I think it creates some cool variations. But let's actually just sample from a record and let's see if we have something else different right here. I'm going to put that in pad 1 in the new track we just created. And I'm going to jump into this editor and I want to chop this up. I want to show you something that's different. I actually recorded this in mono. I forgot I had it set up to mono from the SP1200. But I'm going to show you a new way of chopping some samples. You could use this with percussive sounds. I've been doing it with some drum breaks and it creates some awesome variation. This is actually going to be the first time I try it with an actual melodic sample chop. What I want us to do, or what I'm going to do right here, go into our trim and I'm going to select a perfect 16 beats within this loop right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, there's actually 12 beats with this selection that I have. And if I select the perfect 12 beats, I'm going to hit process. Let's discard that. So I counted 12 beats in my head. I'm going to go from trim into chop and I'm going to go into regions and I'm going to create 6 or actually 12 regions. Why? Because there was 12 beats that I counted. So essentially I should have 12 perfect chops already chopped up. Awesome. So I'm actually going to leave it like that. I don't have to create a program. I already have that on in a specific pad because I assigned that pad to that new track we had selected. So I go back to my main page and in track number 4 is where we have that sample in pad 1. I select pad 1. We see that sample that we sampled into the MPC. Now, before I show you this new feature, I'm actually going to go into this grid editor and I'm going to just add that pad and record it on the grid. Something very simple. I should probably mute this track right here just so we can hear this new sample. So as you hear, it's just being repeated over and over. Nothing cool about that, nothing special about that, but you can create some variations. If you go into that track editor, now I want us to go right here where it says slice. I'm going to select pad and I'm going to just select pad slice 1, our first slice. And I hit this little circle icon. When I select that, I'm going to go from motion. You could either do increments or you could do random. Being in random is going to play those 12 chops, randomizing it and coming up with its own groove or its own triggers. This is cool. Again, the reason why I said with percussive instruments is because I've noticed that it would create different swings for me that is not being repeated, the same hi-hat, the same snare. Like it just creates variation that might sound good or it might not sound good. In this case, I'm going to leave it at random. I don't know what it's going to do. We already have it on the grid. So every time a note gets triggered, it's going to play a different chop that we sliced up. As a matter of fact, I go to the main page. If I hit play, we're going to see how it switches variation right here. Now, this is the first time I use it with a melodic sample chop, which actually sounds cool because if you have something that you want to lay as a foundation or in the background of your beat and just create different variations of where that sample gets triggered after you did your slices, this can create some interesting variations. All right, so now there's so much to cover and I'm only scratching the surface of some of the new features. I'm going to be putting out so many more videos. So if you're interested in watching more of this MPC 3 update, stick around, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to focus a little more on individual sections, but if you do want to see a different approach on building a track, go ahead and watch Bolo's video. I'll leave a link somewhere up here where he's going to take a whole different approach on building a beat using instrument tracks, just a whole different style. Right now, I'm summarizing and showing a few of these new chop features, but go ahead and check out his page for more content. If you're new to this channel, thank you so much for watching the video. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. We'll be coming out with more content on 3.0. Thank you guys so much. We'll catch y'all on our next video. Peace.